TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declares victory over the Islamic Republic of Iran. U.S. President Donald Trump warns Iran that any attempt to reinvigorate its nuclear program would trigger a military reaction. Iran's parliament votes on suspending cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency. Israel is operating with 4 IDF divisions throughout the Gaza Strip as the Israeli military aims to fulfill all of Jerusalem's war objectives, to include the eradication of the governing and military capabilities of the Islamist Hamas, and to retrieve the remaining 50 hostages, with up to 20 of them still alive, from the terror-plagued territory.
Currently, 4 IDF divisions are operating in the Gaza Strip. IDF soldiers and their commanders continue to fight bravely against terrorists, both above and below ground, and we constantly remember the 50 hostages and our duty to bring them home.
General Defrin continued by announcing the regrettable death of 7 IDF troops who've lost their lives in the line of duty.
This morning, we announced that Lieutenant Matan Shai Yashinovsky, Staff Sergeant Alon Davidov, Staff Sergeant Neve Radia, Staff Sergeant Ronel Ben Moshe, Sergeant Shahar Manov, Sergeant Ronan Shapiro, and Sergeant Mayan Baruch Perlstein fell in battle yesterday in Khan Yunis, in the southern Gaza Strip. This is a difficult and painful morning for the nation of Israel. We embrace the bereaved families in these painful moments. Battalion 605 is part of the 188th Brigade Combat Team. In recent weeks, they have been operating in the Khan Yunis area. The battalion's troops have been operating against terror targets, locating and dismantling terror tunnels and shafts, and eliminating terrorists. Yesterday afternoon, during an operational activity, an explosive device was attached to an armored Puma vehicle belonging to the brigade's forces. As a result, the armored vehicle caught fire. Rescue forces and helicopters were dispatched to the scene and made attempts to extract the soldiers, but were unsuccessful. This is a complex incident that is still under review.
Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has declared victory over the Islamic Republic of Iran, that after the 12-day war culminated with all of Jerusalem's predetermined objectives accomplished.
In the 12 days of Operation Rising Lion, we achieved a historic victory, which will stand for generations. We removed 2 immediate existential threats: the threat of annihilation by nuclear weapons and the threat of annihilation by 20,000 ballistic missiles. Had we not acted now, the state of Israel would have soon faced the danger of annihilation. But this did not happen because at the decisive moment, we rose up and stood like lions, and our roar shook Tehran and echoed around the world. In our scriptures it is said, "By way of deception thou shalt make war." The surprise opening blow of Rising Lion will go down in the annals of Israel's wars and will be studied by every military in the world. In one strike, in one blow, we eliminated Iran's senior command, including 3 chiefs of staff and many other senior officers. And in those same moments, we also eliminated Iran's leading nuclear scientists, those who held the knowledge, led the nuclear program, and sought to bring upon us destruction and death.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continued by highlighting that Israel had struck all of the intended targets related to Iran's nuclear weapons program, while also highlighting that the ballistic missiles program was destroyed as well.
For decades, I have promised you that Iran would not have nuclear weapons. And indeed, in all of the swift actions that our soldiers carried out, we sent Iran's nuclear project to oblivion. And if anyone in Iran tries to rebuild this project, we will act with the same determination and the same force to cut off any such attempt. I reiterate, Iran will not have nuclear weapons. We destroyed Iran's industry for producing ballistic missiles. We destroyed dozens of missile production factories. We struck hard at their stock of missiles. We destroyed most of their launchers. In many cases, we destroyed them minutes before they could launch their missiles of death at Israel. Iran's malicious intention to threaten, within a few years, the existence of Israel with tens of thousands of ballistic missiles, this threat has also been removed.
The Israeli leader further asserted that the Ayatollah regime had also sustained a devastating blow.
Regarding the Iranian regime, we struck crushing blows at this wicked regime. We eliminated many senior commanders. We destroyed command centers. We attacked Revolutionary Guards bases. We attacked Basij bases. We struck the symbols of the regime. Today, this morning, a few hours before the ceasefire, we struck the Ayatollah's regime with the hardest blow of all since the start of the war, with the hardest blow in its history. We eliminated hundreds of regime operatives in a crushing attack, the most crushing that Tehran has seen in the past 50 years.
Concluding his remarks on the successful 12-day war versus the Islamic Republic of Iran, Premier Netanyahu voiced Israel's deep gratitude to President Donald Trump and the American people.
Citizens of Israel, on your behalf, I thank my friend, President Trump, and the U.S. for their part in defending Israel and in removing the Iranian nuclear threat. The U.S. decision to join the campaign, not only on the defensive side, but also on the offensive side, was historic. It has never happened before. This was the fruit of a diplomatic effort that I led, together with Minister Dermer, with President Trump and his team. I must tell you, Israel has never had as great a friend in the White House, and I thank him very much for the joint work. It has major implications for Israel's national security, for the security of each and every one of you, and for your children and grandchildren, and for the face of the Middle East.
Meanwhile, during a meeting at the sidelines of the NATO Leaders Summit in The Hague, President Donald Trump explicitly stressed that Iran would face renewed military action if it would try to reinvigorate its nuclear program.
The last thing they want to do is enrich anything right now. They want to recover. And we won't let that happen, number one. Militarily, we won't. I think we'll end up having somewhat of a relationship with Iran. I see it. Look, I've had a relationship over the last 4 days. They agreed to the ceasefire. And it was a very equal agreement. They both said, that's enough. They both said it.
Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Marco Rubio, for his part, seized the opportunity to highlight that America's aerial strikes on Iran's nuclear installations essentially decimated the infrastructure from the face of the map.
The conversion facility, which you can't do a nuclear weapon without a conversion facility. We can't even find where it is, where it used to be on the map. You can't even find where it used to be because the whole thing is just blackened out. It's
right.
Gone.
It's wiped out.
It's wiped out. Then we dropped 12 of the strongest bombs on the planet right down the hole in 2 places. Everything underneath that mountain is in bad shape. And I refer you to the statement of the IAEA, Mr. Grossi.
Yes.
You know what he said? He said there was Iran, the way it looked the day before the attack, and what their nuclear program looks like now. 2 very different things. They are way behind where they were just 7 days ago.
Meanwhile, in Austria, IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi responded to a question on reported intentions by Iran to withdraw from the Non-Proliferation Treaty.
I don't think this would help anybody, starting with Iran. This would lead to isolation, all sorts of problems, and why not? Perhaps, if not the unraveling, a very, very, very serious erosion in the NPT structure. Warps and all, as they say in English, the NPT has served us well. We do not have 40 countries with nuclear weapons, which could perfectly be the case had we not had this treaty. So I think Of course, hard words and emotions are, of course, perhaps normal, or if not normal, inevitable at times of war, but we are working for diplomacy.
It is important to know that the Iranian parliament voted in favor of abandoning Tehran's obligations under the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which is now expected to be deliberated by the Ayatollah regime's Supreme National Security Council before the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei himself would be required to make a final decision on Tehran's discourse.
Despite the recent attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities, the International Atomic Energy Agency has not condemned them, not even superficially. It has undermined its international credibility, and for this reason, the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran is suspending its cooperation with the agency until the security of its nuclear facilities is guaranteed, and Iran's peaceful nuclear program will proceed at a faster pace. Allah is great. Death, death to America. Death, death to America.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. It is important to know that TV7 Israel is a donation-based, non-profit ministry with all of our productions available free of charge and 100% reliant on donations. Therefore, if you're blessed by our productions, please consider to donate via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you an Erev Mevorach. Keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. And God willing, we'll see you during our next update. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.